Shalom, all praise to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, Bashem Harakakadash. The moments to the elder apostles of great most on the rule well, and Shalom to all the brothers doing the work of serving truth, pushing his word to the four corners. So this and it seemed interesting because more or less the whole system they've got set up in this place. It's all these things people thought were monoliths are now getting chipped away. And it's funny because over here you had with the like police powers, it was really throughout C19 with the lockdowns that they started expanding powers, and it was really against what was it called? It was against the hell? Oh, it was really against protesters, because one of the big ways they came against protests, it's funny as well because it was like 2010. I remember those huge fuck off like protests against like the increase in student protests and increase of uh like university prices, where they tripled them. But then it's funny, it's like you used to kind of be able to go out and do a certain level of things, but then they've had like the big push was with Extinction Rebellion and Just Stop Oil, where you had the people like chaining themselves to things, gluing themselves to roads and whatnot, going up in fucking hell, going up into thingies, going up into museums and just kind of like chucking soup on paintings and shit like that. Uh, so they kind of got the expansion here, and you had digital ID getting pushed through off the back of immigration, that being an issue that needs to be addressed. And now we have with the courts, they're saying, oh, the courts have got a huge backlog of of trials and whatnot. So as on the Guardian, it says David Lammy considers scrapping jury trials for all but the most serious cases. So basically, the trials would just be going before just a judge. You wouldn't have a jury trial. And the thing with that, I just think is I mean, as far as it's like them just kind of adjusting things alone is and saying this is for convenience's sake, then is something that can escalate, because just like you had with the police, where they said, oh, initially it was because of the lockdowns, they need certain powers to to stop people going outside. So, Pretty Patel at the time, Exterior Home Secretary, she expanded her powers. Then you had people, gluing themselves to things, chaining themselves to things. Police needed their powers expanded to deal with that. So it's always and the thing is they don't rescind those after time. So it's similar looking at this. Like, this might not seem as extreme, or they're just getting rid of jury trials for like the less prolific kind of getting rid of jury trials for less prolific um what's it called, cases. But then they could say, okay, well, if it's below this, we might just make it so you have like you might just get a hearing, you might not even get a full trial, let alone a non-jury trial. You don't even get a trial. They might say, okay, well, we'll have a hearing. If the evidence is overwhelming enough, then you're cooked, and then we just, okay, we'll give you a reduced sentence or something. Because and then they can kind of expand what, they might just have it where it's like you get accused of certain things, you're cooked. As soon as you're put into the kink system, you're cooked. Which would be, I wouldn't be surprised. It says, in proposal that drew a swift backlash from senior lawyers, who said that would not reduce court backlogs and could destroy justice as we know it. And yeah, that's the thing, is even if it seems like it's not a solution, it can still get pushed through anyway. Just like the digital ID, it didn't care about all them signatures resisting against it. Really don't matter. Because what does it say? The Justice Secretary has proposed the juries only pass judgment on public interest offences with possible prison sentences of more than 5 years. So this is a thing I was thinking was interesting. They might then make it where it's like, oh, because there's been even a what's it called, a shortage of prison space for like fucking decades at this point. And they might then just be like, well, if it's below 6 months or below a year or something, then they might not even have like the full court appearance, and they might just be like, okay, well, you're gonna say, oh, if you pay this fine, then we just count as what they can start playing with what the so-called justice system is. From there, it can very easily escalate. It says lone judges would preside over trials of other serious offences, meriting sentences of up to 5 years. He suggested removing the ancient right of thousands of defendants be heard before a jury. The Ministry of Justice said no final decision has been made by the government, but sources confirmed the proposals had been circulated throughout Whitehall in preparation for an announcement in the new year. Lammy's proposals, which would create a new tier of court in which most criminal offences would be tried by judges alone, go well beyond the recommendations of Sir Brian Leveson, who was commissioned to review the criminal courts and reported in July that they exceed the court minister Sarah Sackman's interview. Wait, what? Oh no, it ended. I reported in July. It says, and they exceed the court's minister Sarah Sackman's interview with The Guardian last week, where she set out a plan to stop criminals gaming the system. The MOJ document circulated in Whitehall earlier this month reports that Crown courts are facing record backlogs with more than 78,000 cases waiting to be completed. So yeah, the backlog's been legendary for time. It's like most people, it's like if you're in jail, you're on remand for like months, maybe like 3-6 months, something stupid, before you might even get like the first like kind of hearing. So it said Leveson recommended the government should end jury trial for many serious offences that could be dealt with by a judge alone or sitting with two magistrates. The former judge suggested they would preside over a new intermediate tier of criminal court, which has been called Crown Court Bench Division, CCBD, which, I just thought like CBDC. Like, why does it sound so? Why is the same initials? It's just fucking weird. It says the Deputy Prime Minister's decision, according to the leaked MOJ document, is to go further than Sir Brian's to achieve maximum impact. The document, first disclosed by the BBC, said Lammy wanted to introduce trial by judge alone for cases involving fraud and financial offences. If the judge considers the case to be suitably technical and lengthy, exclusions for rape, murder, manslaughter, and public interest. Yeah, public interest. So that's the thing, is outside of extreme cases, the thing with that is then it could be something like I don't even know. Well, the thing with is it can very easily, just be pushed forward to where there'll be a lot of different crimes. They might just be like, you know what, we're not even gonna like have these run through the court. We're not even gonna have them as you even get a trial. And then when the trial goes out the window, then they, whatever gets put in that category can be adjusted. Because it's a similar thing with what is it thingy, Palace Action for Palestine or whatever it was, the guys that got banned in the UK from protesting, where if them guys go out, then the cops can come down. If they don't want to leave, grab them up, throw them in jail. And that's the legal right to protest, unless you're doing some kind of harm. That's meant to be there. But that shows all these these rights, these things that people take for granted and really think are kind of enshrined, can very easily dissipate. It says what propose something on worse than which will promise. Okay. So say the consequences of their actions will be to destroy a criminal justice system that has been the pride of this country for centuries and to destroy justice as we know it. Skipping down a bit more, it says the proposal represents a U-turn on Lammy's past views. In a social media comment posted 5 years ago, he said, "Trials are a fundamental part of our democratic settlement. Criminal trials without juries are a bad idea." So yeah, that being turned around. That's the thing is like a lot of these things, um, once the momentum kind of gets going, who can even resist it? It's like you can look at the states with Trump where it's been normalized, him sending the military, sending the army, under the guise of it's because of, the levels of crime, the levels of very illegal immigrants, all these different issues. That's the solution. So it's been justified. And then as it's ramped up, can people resist? Not really. They just kind of have to hold it. Criminal trials without juries are a bad idea. It's funny because, yeah. And the thing is, again, it's like with these things, they can easily just push them through, whether you want to hold it or not. It's funny because this government's already been unpopular since like maybe, I don't know, 6 to 9 months after they came in. They were heavily unpopular. People say, "Oh, we need another general election." These guys are saying, "Look, we're just gonna run out our time." So I think 2029 is the next time we'll have to have a general election. 2028 or 2029, one of them. So they've got a bit of time to kind of put together what they want. So they don't really have to, resist. But I read this, Daniel 7:25. It says, "And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear at the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until the time and times and the dividing of times." Yeah, that's talking about, in America, Jake going into captivity and then changing times and laws. Because, if you go to the calendar, even the clock, you got daylight savings time, these things have been done. And then what the laws as well, as far as, the laws of the Bible being the law of the land, that's not been happening at all. That's completely false. So plainly and observably, and that's the same thing happening here. People said it's funny because democracy and what they call it, due process, those are things that they've always puffed up. And the thing is even within the system, you've had various cases where people have been railroaded and said, oh, they were jailed for like 23 years or some shit for something they didn't do. This justice system is flawed already. But then, with this over here, they're kind of showing a hand where they, as far as for convenience's sake, then it's like, okay, they'll cut corners. And, people could very easily, people could very fucking easily, what do you call it? Fall into those things, man. Be desirous of it, say, oh, because of crime, we want X, Y, Z. And then, as time goes on, then they start stripping away more and more of these, so-called rights, which is what, I'm expecting. Finish on this, Isaiah 30:1, it says, "Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord Jehovah, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin." And yeah, and that's, a lot of Jacob, especially, I say in this country, in America as well, they're thinking, they believe in this system, this kingdom, this rulership. They think, oh, this is the best means by which they can have and succeed in life. This they think this is as good as life gets. Being in these big metropolitan cities, smog, environmental pollution, the food's all jacked up, the family dynamic's been ruined. Even if you have a woman, then you're having to headlock and wrestle with her psychologically to kind of get her to play her role. You have to deal with Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, at all, at every turn. Like you basically, subject to payments, all kinds of hells. But then, these are the things that, Jake think. And these so-called criminal justice people say, oh, it's a better system than X, Y, Z. You can have like 12 fucking strangers. There could be some Joseph Fritzl geezer with bodies in his basement who's deciding whether you've done right or wrong. Just fucking crazy. It's kind of funny still. Who knows what the hell these guys get up to in the dark, man. But yeah, that's it's the investment in this system. All those things that you had faith in, it's gonna be found. It's a waste of time, dog. It was a unfortunate failure. What does it say? The walk to go down into Egypt, and then have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves on the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. That's what a lot of these, people are doing. It's like Jake especially, but it's really the whole world. The reason everyone's taken on Esau's system of rule, Esau's system of governance and whatnot, and then been like, okay, yeah, we're gonna take that and run with it. It's because why? They really believe in it. And also they want the benefits of engaging with Esau's system, the monetary, financial benefits. But, that's basically thrown in your lot with Egypt, the new Egypt, the new Babylon, which is America. And then, that justice system is so called, you're thinking like, oh, it's the greatest blob, you watch like, was it 12 Angry Men, or, well, I guess A Few Good Men is military court. But let's say 12 Angry Men, you think, wow, yeah, look, they're really going to get to the bottom of this. I'm like, bro, it's especially if you're Jake, like, this shit is fucking a rap, bro, a lot of the time. Like, yo, what is it? Motherfuckers always trying to ice skate uphill. Yeah, if you're Jake going through Esau's justice system, you're trying to ice skate uphill, bro. uh, Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt to your confusion. And yeah, that's the fullness of how it's gonna come together, man. Like that hope that you have within the system ain't gonna work out, man. Ain't gonna work out. But we'll see, man. We'll see. Because if they do, even this change, it seems light. But this one you'll hear about. It's like they might do further, and it might not even get that bigger fanfare. A lot of these things they do, a lot of it, it's like they make a lot of changes. So in the UK, you've got what's it called, the Parliament channel, the BBC Parliament channel, where you can see go. I think they have it online as well, where you can go and see them debating on certain laws. Bro, the amount of laws being passed and being debated and spoken about, people don't really know. It's like a lot of the discussions on like digital ID was done time ago. I remember that was something that was spoken about. That got brought up every couple of years. But then, now's the time where they're just pushing it through. They've kind of got, the momentum. And this, the way that they're doing it, it might be the same thing with this, where they change up the legal system. Because the funny thing is, like, over here, it's like there is no freedom of speech. You say certain things, you upset someone on the street, they can they can just, distress alarm, Section 4, the Public Order Act. You're cooked, you're nicked. So they could, put certain things in the legislation, and then all this that people think, oh yeah, I'm gonna blah blah blah. They might just say, okay, well, you're under suspicion of this because of the stress. what's it called? Judge Dredd, yeah, Judge, Jury, Executioner. Them man basically got given a leeway to do all, decide on their judgment how they're gonna deal with these things because the chaos got to such a height, and that's what they're trying to do over here. They might say, okay, there's been so much chaos, the gang violence, the this, the that. We're gonna have to smooth it off, streamline it, so that this criminal justice system can deal with all this chaos. So yeah, we'll see how it comes together, man. But yeah, shalom, shalom.